Hey, welcome back to Real Talk. Thanks for hanging out with us. Joe, we're talking about words.
Words matter.
Hey, do you know what I noticed? We got to say thank you to the folks because a lot of people have been clicking that thumbs up.
Thumbs
That's what producer Jenny tells me. We get a lot of thumbs up. Keep clicking it, would you?
And don't click thumbs down. I mean, you can. We really care about your honest feedback, so if you want to give us a thumbs down, that's cool too, but thumbs up are better.
Words. Here we go.
Here we go.
Want to start with a little word trivia?
Always trivia.
How many active words in the English language?
In the English language?
Yep.
No idea.
172,000.
Are active.
Yep.
That's like so that everyday Joe Schmo has a vocabulary of 172K.
No, that's my next question. Don't jump ahead. The average vocabulary of an adult English speaker.
From New Jersey?
Ooh, that's like... Anyways, how many?
Probably 50,000.
30,000.
Yeah, less.
Longest word in the dictionary?
17, many? 17 letters.
30.
What's the word?
Hypoparathyroidism.
Is that a medical condition?
Yes, but it's real. People have made up longer words.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
They just
that's the longest.
But that's the longest real word. Pseudo hypoparathyroidism. I could, but they don't want to hear that right now.
Parathyroidism?
Yeah, it doesn't sound good, whatever it is.
No, it's
I don't think you want it.
I feel like I have it right now. Do I? I don't think so.
All right, let's talk about words. Let's talk about uplifting words. We know that words can tear people down because we've all felt it.
Yes, sir.
And we've all done it to people. We've used words as a weapon. But words can also build people up, right? In fact, Ephesians 4 says, only speak in a way that builds people up. So there's something about words that give energy and life to people, right? So we're going to talk about words that are a blessing to people.
Cool.
But not cheesy stuff like, oh, bless your heart.
No.
Or like when people sneeze and you say, God bless you. I don't know why we do that.
Do you actually want God to bless them when you say that?
Maybe. There was a Seinfeld episode where they stopped saying God bless you and they say, you're so good looking.
You are so good looking.
Thank you.
They're like, that's nicer.
Hey, that is nice.
You're so good looking.
Okay.
just
So
telling you.
uplifting words.
Yeah. So
like
Proverbs 15 says this. A soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit.
Soothing.
Soothing tongue is a tree of life. It gives life.
That's an interesting word to use. David's like playing his harp going, all I want is a soothing tongue. Like, I don't know if I would use that description.
Okay, well, it's 3,000 years ago. Okay.
An uplifting tongue.
Uplifting. Life, yes, is life-giving. All right? So, I mean, think of a time. Tell me a time where someone said something to you that you're like, yeah, that gave me life. That was encouraging to me.
So probably the thing that jumps into my mind most is in high school, I wasn't popular. I wasn't athletic. I wasn't smart. I really had nothing going on that would anybody from the outside that would be like measurable and I had this youth pastor that just would tell me that I was valuable. And he would tell me, I'd be like, all my friends at school are getting these awards and successful in varsity this or varsity that. And this guy took enough time with me to learn who I was and understand. And he would speak encouragement into my heart and just remind me that all that outward stuff is valuable, but it isn't what matters most. And he would just see things in my character. It would just, I don't know, huge encouragement to help me at 16, 17, 18 years old to be confident that I was going to be okay.
Wow, that's good. So has that shaped the way you then talk to, I don't know, your sons, or you were a high school pastor for a long time, the way you talk to students that you worked with, did that shape that?
I think so. I mean, that's how life-giving it was. It really, I think, changed the trajectory of my life. That's how powerful that type of encouragement is, that it can make a difference in someone's life in such a powerful way, for you to take the time to see someone for who they really are and be able to call it out. Maybe that's what he's getting at there. It's a tree of life, because sometimes we can't see ourselves. So in those circumstances, I didn't know that I was valuable. I thought I was measuring up against other people, and I'm like, I don't got nothing. And he was like, but you have this, and you have such a high capacity for these things. And I mean, yeah, it changed my life.
So do you think there's something about it too, though, that there were actual words. It's not just that he invested time in you and
No,
like,
he had to say it.
sometimes I know I do this. I'm guilty of this. It's like, oh, that person knows I care about them, or that person knows I appreciate them. They know that I love them. And it's hard for me to say some of those words, but it sounds like for someone to take the time to go, here's these words. Let me share them with you of what I see. Not just, well, you know how I feel about you.
Yeah. No, I think that's such a pass. When people say that, like, you know that I care about you, you know, well, of course you are. Like, no, that's a cheap excuse for not speaking. God spoke things into being and brought things into being and created and wired us to be able to do the same. So he didn't say things to me and made them happen, so to speak, but they were like buried inside me. And he called them out by talking about it and saying powerful things about who I was as a man.
Yeah.
That he noticed, and it made a huge difference.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You don't get a pass to be
cool.
like, I think you should know this about yourself. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
But to think about how many years you've held on to that for, and that like you still feel the effects of that, that's really cool. Because when you were 16, 17, that's a long time ago, my friend.
Awkward. Those were the awkward years, for sure.
Ooh, awkward teenage Joe. That's another real talk.
We could show a
do that
picture. Jenny, we'll put a picture in right here.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, okay, what are some ways that we can encourage people with words? Like, give me some examples of somebody that's watching. They go, I want to speak in a way that's a blessing to people. Like, what do we have for them?
Well, I mean, it starts with if you've never been encouraged, the chances of you being an encourager is probably really hard. So it's like if you're around negative people, I don't know, there's probably people that are naturally encouraging, right? And have the gift of encouragement.
Yeah, definitely.
That's definitely a reality. But I think being around positive people and encouraging people helps to build that tank of encouragement where you're able to see it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and be able to it be modeled for you so that you could be that kind of person with someone else. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of people that are negative all the time, ditch those cats and get a new set of friends. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You can't give that out if you've never experienced it. You're totally right.
Yep. And I think that's a lot of people's experience. I think a lot of people are around a lot of negative individuals. And then they wonder why they spew negativity. It's like time to go shopping for some new friends.
I also think too, like, sometimes you just have to take a risk and say something encouraging to somebody. You go, oh, I don't know if I want to say that. They might think it's kind of corny or whatever. But just to walk into, if you have a relationship with a person, just to walk into that sort of awkward space and go, hey, like, I really appreciate you. Or I saw you do this and that was really great. Or, I mean, heaven forbid, like, that we tell someone that we love them. You're like, that's a space that we should step into. And it's awkward sometimes, or it's maybe for some of us, that's a challenge.
Yeah. And being negative, so I think what happens with negative is safe because I can distance myself and pull back from you and shoot at you and tell you all kinds of negative things. But if I'm going to encourage you and be positive, I'm actually coming close to you.
Yeah. Right.
And it's an intimate thing. And so sometimes we're so afraid of that because we haven't experienced it or we're weirded out by it that we're not willing to take the risk. Yeah. But if you take the risk, like you said, how great would it be if you were at work or school and you took the risk to notice someone and say, hey, I really saw you do this. Wade into that experience and see that it's really life-giving to you and to that person. I
think the last thing too, I think as you're saying that is, who do we surround ourselves with? What do we surround ourselves with? What are we reading? What are we watching? What are we listening to? Things like that are going to have an impact on, you know, if you're reading stuff that's negative all the time, if all you do is read the news
or watch cable news,
like the negativity, right? Yeah. So the things that we're consuming and the people that we're around.
And if you're gonna follow Jesus, Jesus is an encourager.
Yeah.
And so as you experience the encouraging, life-giving words of Christ, that gives you something to give out to people and be a role model and an influencer of good things in our world. How great would that be as Christians that we could be giving people life instead of being a part of the drama of our culture?
Right. Teenage Joe.
Oh, there's some awkward years.
Hair? Good hair?
Well, I was told by my mom, got called into the guidance counselor's office and told that Joe needs a makeover. See you next time on Real Talk.